Hey, it's Kristen with Collision Hub, and we are back as we talk a little bit more about legal and law and what's changing in the collision repair industry rapidly. What's changing rapidly in the collision repair industry. And we've got Erica to join us. And Erica, I wanted to take some time. I was not going to let you get out of here without talking about your new role, which we were excited to hear about last year with the National Insurance Commissioners kind of board. Talk to us about that role and what you're doing with that.
Yeah, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners is the organization that all of the insurance commissioners in the states have signed up. It includes territories, Puerto Rico, Guam, a whole variety.
The Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands, yeah, places that you may be tuning in from, you never know. If you're lucky, Virgin Islands, great place. But I was really fortunate because of the nonprofit that I run, the Automotive Education and Policy Institute. Since it's a consumer protection organization, and as well as helping the collision repairers help their consumers, I was eligible to be able to apply for a position as a consumer liaison with the NAIC, and it's a fascinating opportunity, and I'm really enjoying it. It's great to get to be talking to the insurance commissioners themselves, their high-level regulators, staff members. It's very different than simply filing a complaint, obviously, with the Department of Insurance about something. Very different aspect. So what has been revealing to me has been a number of things. One, that I don't think I had an appropriate appreciation for the fact that some of these insurance departments are woefully understaffed, underfunded,
and overworked.
Have multiple roles. I know some of the southern states, like North Carolina, Georgia, the insurance commissioner isn't just the insurance commissioner. That person is also the fire. They have fire commission authority, and they're running fire departments and things like that. So
sometimes they even run regular businesses
that
has nothing to do with insurance. It's all the licensing stuff and stuff like that. And I see that. It's not like New York where we just got the guy who just handles insurance.
Yeah,
it's just so big.
I mean, and you've got, and I just call the New York, even though it's banking and finance or financial regulation or whatever, I just call it the Department of Insurance because it's easier.
We just call it crazy.
Yeah, well, you got that.
It's New York.
It has been great to be able to just reach out and talk to them. What is very revealing is the difference in the dynamic and the power between consumers and consumer liaisons and the insurance industry. Because there are, I would say, 32, 35 consumer liaisons. The vast majority of my counterparts address healthcare law. They're not doing property casualty, and they're certainly not doing collision. There are maybe 5 of us who do property casualty focused things, and I am the only person who does collision repair.
Well, I tried for your position. I got back the emojis from all 51 states and 32 possessions. Yeah, but basically laughing. I got outvoted 482 times.
How many states?
51 states and like 42 possessions, and they went ahead and they took everything from us.
When did DC
When did we get another state?
Puerto Rico's a state. Come on, really?
No,
just because you're Puerto Rican.
It's not.
I'm Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico's a state. Screw you.
All right.
We got 51 states, in my opinion.
Geography with Larry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
You think it's 50, I think it's 51.
Yep.
And I got outvoted like 482 times. Like some states voted 3 and 4 times. It's like, no. So I kind of lost out the position to you,
Right.
so I lost out to the better person.
True.
You were out the door when it said you must be a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Because that was
Larry is definitely profit-oriented.
For profit, yes.
So, but you just see the difference. I mean, we go to these amazing properties, expensive properties, hotels and resorts and things that have the little consumer reps. We wander around, and then you see the insurance company employees. You see the insurance company lobbyists. There are the insurance company attorneys. There must be I think really the numbers are like
Hundreds.
there are 1,000 insurance company pro-insurance position people there to advocate for the insurance industry compared to like the 32, 35 of us. One of the cool things, though, is that as consumer liaisons, to try to help balance that out a little bit, is that we're allowed to eat breakfast and lunch, which is paid for by the NAIC. We get to eat lunch with the commissioners and their staff and the regulators. So that's a great opportunity to just get to sit down with different regulators, and I've had the opportunity to do that with regulators from all over the country, and I'm hoping to get an opportunity to do more of that.
So the thing is that this is all the commissioners, and all the commissioners meet together.
Yep.
From the the states and stuff like that, and any possessions.
Sure.
And it's basically an association of them for the insurance industry. And how many collision people are allowed in there to be observers or talk or go there? Collision repair people?
Oh, you could pay like $800 a day or a session or something like that. It's expensive. It really is.
You could do, yeah.
So
but
they would allow you in, like some of the other body shop associations allow insurance companies into our meetings.
Yeah.
So you could actually go there.
But you could go.
you
It's
could.
very
Yes.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah. And now you may not get. There are only so many meetings that are open to whomever is there.
But keep in mind, some of the closed sessions also are closed out to the insurers as
That's
well.
right.
So it's not when the insurance commissioners decide to have those closed sessions, consumer affairs people or consumer side may or may not be allowed included. The insurers are not included. And in fact, at most of these meetings, they just walk around the peripheral edges. In honesty, they're the ones paying for the resort and paying for the food and paying for the
without a doubt, they are. Yeah.
and private planes and some other stuff there. But technically, they're not always in on those conversations.
No, and that's exactly right. There are closed meetings that are just commissioners only, or commissioners and staff. There are meetings that are just consumer liaisons. We've been very fortunate to have the opportunity at each of the meetings that I've been to so far in this role. We've had the opportunity to sit down privately with maybe 5 or 6 commissioners and their staff members, with just the consumer liaisons and the insurance commissioner from Puerto Rico.
So let's talk about, I always used to tell people that one of the hardest things I would think about being an insurance commissioner is the health insurance and workers' compensation regulation. We've had a lot of healthcare policy law changes with Obamacare, and are we going to roll it back, and all those things. It's probably a pretty traumatic or turmoil-driven time to be an insurance commissioner in any state. Have you found that they're really aware of our industry?
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Not at all. There is a very significant gap, I would say, in anybody, in most of the departments. I shouldn't even say most. I mean, so far from my experience, what I have seen is that there is just not a lot of focus on auto insurance, and I think part of the reason for that is because I know I was told by the NAIC staff member who is responsible really for overseeing the consumer liaisons that they had not had anybody who was automotive focused for years. That they were happy. They were actually really happy to have me, and I thought I wouldn't have an opportunity to get to be a liaison because most of the liaisons I read about were all healthcare focused. So yes, this is a time period where the commissioners, there is tons of turmoil. They are absolutely focused right now on healthcare. What we're doing with healthcare, will Obamacare stay? Will it be repealed? Short-term health insurance policies, what does that mean? Are they regulated, not regulated? What's happening with that? You have a number of the southern coastal states deeply concerned with hurricane insurance issues and
California with the fire and stuff.
viability of Florida and Alabama and some of these other folks being able to make certain that homeowners can get hurricane coverage. So they're really focused on that right now because those are huge issues that keep coming up for them.
Is it because automobile collision is a smaller portion? Because it doesn't, I get into a car accident, I only affect myself and maybe one other person.
Right.
I don't affect like a storm where you're affecting thousands, tens of thousands of people at one time. Is that maybe it?
I think that's
Health
part
insurance
of it.
is millions.
Yeah, and also too, health insurance is something that consumers use routinely. You may use it every week, you may use it once a month, whatever. It's not like, okay, you get into an accident once every 7 years.
So it's much easier for everyone to find empathy around healthcare.
Yeah.
So we have all envisioned ourselves at some point sick, or we've had a relative that's sick or whatever. We don't all have had a personalized experience with collision repair.
Some people live in collision. I know that.
So there's that
Yeah.
affects it.
Yeah, no, I
and
think
then
that's right.
and then number two, when it comes to that, for many years, what typically made an insurance company complaint was you just denied my coverage, or I didn't like what you paid on my total loss. And I can say, as you know, I spent several years being the person for the insurer I worked for that had to respond to DOI complaints, and that was typically what I was dealing with. It wasn't these technical issues of paying for proper repairs or whatever the way we are now. Sure, we've always argued over parts, but that was a really easy thing to skip under the table, so to speak, and kind of move on from. But so now we're at this point where we have truly life or death situations by not following procedures, very similar to like if I don't follow the procedures in the OR, when I'm going to do a heart surgery, a patient may die. If I don't follow the procedures of the car, the patient may die. But it's hard to catch them up to speed where we are.
Well, I think one of the other significant problems with that is that although when I have spoken to commissioners, and certainly the NAIC staff members have assured me that that the insurance departments will take complaints from collision repairers, that I get tons of pushback on that because I have constant emails from shops saying, here's the response from the DOI in my state saying, no, we only take complaints from consumers. And the biggest problem with that, of course, is that the consumers have absolutely no idea
how to file a complaint,
what they're complaining about. All they know is the insurance company didn't pay my claim. So this is something I know we saw recently about the New Hampshire, the OEM procedure bill, about the issue of, well, I researched the complaint database, and nobody's ever complained about an insurance company not following OE procedures. Well, if you're only taking complaints from consumers don't have any idea. All they know is the insurance company didn't pay my claim because, my collision repairer said they didn't pay for my whole claim. And so that's going to get categorized under underpayment of claim, or didn't pay claim, or delay in paying claim, or something. So,
which is kind of, I was so glad about your role, and what I wanted to talk about around it is that insurance commissioners' offices do not regulate collision repair.
Right.
Correct.
So they're out of that picture. But in certain respects, we as collision repairers need to learn how to interact with the DOI.
Oh, yes.
So that we don't end up with a situation similar to the New Hampshire bit. And I'm glad that New Hampshire listed the registry and talked about it, because we talk about complaints proving a business practice. Mm-hmm. And that's how, when I'm going to go back and levy fines against an insurer, if we go back and we look as far back as Minnesota, levying fines, recently for glass claims or whatever, is that complaint registry helps establish a pattern of doing business or business practice or whatever.
Absolutely.
So we as repairers, while I know a DOI complaint's not going to get my estimate paid, it's not going to get me anywhere, we still need to help our customers file them.
Right.
And we need to make sure they're not written as whiny, I didn't get paid what I wanted, but that they actually have almost some legal briefing to them in a way.
Yeah.
Why this had to be paid for, not I didn't get paid, or labor rate, stupid stuff.
Or basically, even if you're helping the consumer needs to be saying, my repair shop said that these were necessary procedures or safety-related items, whatever, and that failure to repair this and be paid for repairing this would,
in this manner, could put me at
could
jeopardy.
put me at serious risk. And that's what I'm objecting to, because my insurance company sold me a policy saying that they would pay for whatever was necessary to restore my vehicle to pre-loss condition. Right. So that's the kind of stuff that the insurance departments, I think I'm trying to help them get up to speed on. They really have no idea about the conflicts between that and, like we said before, about the garage keepers insurer saying, no, we're not covering for you for this, even though the insurance company is saying that's all we're paying you for, and we say that's an appropriate way to fix it.
Well, what I always get a chuckle out of is, like, as a body shop, I can buy garage keepers liability insurance from, let's just say, Nationwide Insurance. Let's just throw them out there, right?
Right.
So they can tell me, as my garage keeper liability insurance, that they're not going to indemnify or cover a loss because I didn't follow OE. and if I'm a nationwide
Right.
DRP shop, they're going to come in on the other side and tell me not to follow the OE.
Yeah.
Right.
It
It's
chuckles. I
baffling.
chuckle about it
I
every
know.
day.
I know. I laugh.
Again, it goes back to
I know.
you have a contractual agreement with the garageman's keeper insurance policy.
Right.
You have no contractual agreement
Right.
with outside to fix the car for whatever price they tell you to fix
Yeah.
for, which probably most lawyers would tell you, well, you signed that contract, I can't defend you anymore. And you have a different contract. The contracts, even though they're from the same company,
Right.
two completely different agreements, and
So
people
let's-
don't realize that.
As I go back to the fact that a lot of our repair shops they were technicians who saved enough money, scraped and
Yeah.
bled to buy a shop, and they just get up every day and all they want to do is fix cars.
Yeah, they're artisans.
And now they've got to be accountants and lawyers, and they've got to be engineers and all these different
research
things.
technicians.
I know.
mean, they got to do
Right.
our research.
And they're calling Larry about buying a hot dog stand. But one of the things that's been used against repair shops a lot, especially I've seen the DOI even try to get involved, is that when we try to get together and talk about these things, they say it's antitrust.
Oh,
So is there anything that prevents collision repair associations from working to help put some parameters around DOI complaints and helping right some of these? Is there?
Not that I can think of. I
Yeah.
mean, look, for the most part, anything that you're doing that is designed to help consumers is generally encouraged. Again, you may get some outlier who says, oh no, you're helping that consumer write a complaint to the Department of Insurance and there's no public adjuster law, like in Arkansas here, and you're acting as a public adjuster. Well, you need to make certain that you are assisting, because really all you're doing is providing your professional expertise to help the consumer explain to the Department of Insurance what is the problem.
Why I'm mad.
Why the consumer is not being fully compensated. You're not advocating for them. You're not being a lawyer. You're not being a public adjuster.
You're telling them the reasons so that they can write down why they're not paying me for my claim, and this is why. Here's the reason.
Right.
And there's
But
nothing wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with us getting together. And Montana, I think the Montana Association actually hired an attorney for the association that's now on retainer that talks to all the body shops in that association and works out. I'd love to see more of the associations do that as well. Find a good attorney, train them up, they're cleared by the bar of that state.
Yep.
Makes it perfect.
And that's an ideal circumstances. And like I said, helping customers, helping consumers is always a good thing. There should not be a problem with that. There shouldn't be. As I said, you're always going to get the outliers who say it is. But for the most part, no. I don't see that as an issue.
Well, it's good to know that we finally have some voice in there that can, we're to the point now where I do believe 20 years ago, kind of how I was fixing cars wasn't as critical as it is now. But an improperly repaired car not only affects the person that owns it, but may affect the rest of the motoring public as we approach autonomous driving and some other things. So it's almost as big of a safety issue as healthcare and some other things. And
again, I think what is critical to understand, and I'm trying to make certain that the insurance department folks understand this, is, one bad repair can affect a lot of people. It can kill a lot of people. It can result in a multi-car accident that kills a lot of people. That isn't just about the fact that somebody
premiums.
That's premiums. And it's funny because I gave a presentation in April, and I think I was expressly told by some of the regulator staff members, oh my gosh, you scared me to death with that presentation when I was trying to explain some of these issues. And they just looked back and went, I had no idea. And they don't, because they're not dealing with it every day.
Yeah, opening up those lines of communication. Well, hopefully you'll get to continue to influence them. And then maybe that'll drive them back at the state level to seek out their state associations for the collision repairs and learn more and more. But it is good to know that we do finally have a voice in that room. I remember that room from years and years ago of just insurance lobbyists and Brooks Brothers suits and private planes, and it was a good life to live, I guess, in a way. But
you can always tell the collision repairers the consumer liaisons were always the shabbily dressed people, and the insurance people are always in suits and they look great and
tanned and in shape and it's amazing.
I should make a caveat to that, because one of our consumer liaisons, although he's a former insurance defense counsel, who now is working. He is a super snappy dresser, so he always looks good. Yep.
So Larry, that rules us out, man. We couldn't.
So I can't show up in jeans and a Harley Davidson t-shirt?
Oh, you
with
can.
your wallet chain?
Yeah,
'Cause
you
that
can.
would be.
You can.
My wallet chain.
Yeah.
I was over my suit.
You're going to go through the metal detector. All right. Okay.
Yep.
So, Erica, I appreciate you coming by. As we covered earlier in the episode, the legal series that you're doing, just kind of raising the bar. I think a lot of shops that have been asleep at the wheel a little bit over the last 10 years are waking up to a jarring new world order, good and bad for some of us. Some of us that have been tooting the horn for a long time are like, finally, the train is arriving after we've been seeing the light, right? So we're excited to get that. Don't miss the legal series when it comes out. It'll be your chance to raise your level of education around not only what your shop does, but around maybe what your attorney that works with your shop should be learning and doing. And then keep in mind throughout the year that while the insurance commissioner's office within your state is not going to offer you remedy or relief to your supplement issues or getting paid, we do still want to make sure that we are turning in those complaints. We want to make sure that they're cataloged. We want to be able to establish a practice of doing business. We don't want to get to a point where we were with the New Hampshire case where any legislator is going to be able to come into a session and say, I couldn't find any complaints. So we got to make sure that we're using that association for what it is and helping our consumers write almost the legal briefs. It's not just I'm not happy with my car repair estimate or whatever. We got to get a little bit more in tune. If you have any questions about writing and assisting customers with complaints and what those should look like and using your state's Unfair Claims Practices Acts and copies of your policy, well, you can always hit us up on the website or check out any of our 20 groups where we talk about this on a monthly basis. Thanks.